Hey ratbags, it's Jade. Today I'm giving you a tips video and basically what you need to know about the Toxic Tangle update arriving on the 27th of January. And if you're watching after this, well actually it's still pretty good rundown of what to expect when you go to start exploring the garden zone. I'm recording this as part of its testing phase, so a few little details may change, but otherwise I think it's a good showcase to give you a heads up about what kind of enemies you'll be encountering, where or how to get different upgrades for your weapons, and what to expect from certain other things like activating the boss fight. Amongst all that, I've got a whole bunch of tips as well. So if you like this video, then leave a like. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you are, and put that notification bell dinged, and come join my Discord. Show me some pictures of your base or what OP build you've got or something cool you found, and let's go. So finally, you'll be able to go ahead and upgrade your Omni tools to tier 3, but definitely focus on getting the axe first, then the hammer, but don't forget the wrench. With the upgraded tools, you'll now be able to go and harvest pinecone, lint, some of the burr weeds, all of the sour candies, and a few new resources obviously in the garden zone. So it does mean returning build features like burr flooring will now finally be available, as well as pine roofs and furniture. Also worth noting, you will need a tier 2 shovel to go ahead and dig up a special sour seed a bit later. During the testing of this, raw science wasn't necessarily spawning correctly, so players were unlocking things like the oven and various different globs and didn't have enough raw science for their tools, and that's what happened to me. So that will be fixed, I'm sure, but still I would say make sure you focus on getting these tools first before unlocking anything else. Go ahead and talk to Sloane. She'll give you the quest objective, which is to go and find the entrance to the archives, which is inside the greenhouse. There is more than one way to get into the gardens. You can obviously go through the war-torn hill. This is directly north of the Burgle and Wendell statue in the brand new area they've just added. You'll find some playing cards and nearby an entrance to the hill where the red ants are fighting the black ants. Now if you bring your regular red ant soldier buggy, you will be able to ignore the red ants, they'll leave you alone. The black ants though should start hitting you still. They're pretty aggressive to anything in this, and there can be lots of them. It's a good idea to obviously go and kill some of them because you're going to need them for some of your actual upgrades for your tools. But let me show you some of the other shortcuts. Head over to the rose bed that you'll find on your way up to the Burgle and Wendell statue. I would say make sure you build a little platform or that you can just jump over through the fence rather than having to go through the branches and the roots that you did before. Follow the ribbon, and if you go left you'll get to the garden wall, but you'll need a bit of jumping up some leaves or your orb weaver. Or if you go right, instead of going all the way right up to the statue, you can actually hop and jump here and you'll be able to get up on top of the wall super easy. This is the best way that I've found to get across the wall. And for sure, use the wall as your highway to get to certain places in the garden without having to traipse through and come across various enemies. There are definitely some dangers up here. You've got a lot more wasps in certain places. As long as you stick closely to the yellow tape, you can pretty much avoid most dangers. There's a couple spots on the wall that you'll have to get off your buggy to maybe duck and crawl down, but it honestly gives some of the best routes into the more southern parts of the gardens. If you're new to Grounded, didn't really play much of the first one, then a lot of the upgrade items that you'll need to make your own globs so you can apply elemental damage like fresh, sour or spicy, they're going to be locked behind this that you'll have to go and find. And indeed there are 3 different globs that you will have to go and look for, which are the sour, spicy and fresh. Once you found them, they'll cost 1500 raw science, so it's a good idea to, again, make sure you've got plenty of raw science to buy all these. I have done individual guides for some of these. Some of them are literally just about going and finding them on dead bodies, namely at the top of the greenhouse, right on top of some of the light fixtures. Another one you'll find in a pumpkin right to the southern part of the gardens, and the other will be in a laboratory where you pick up a schematic to go ahead and get your Ladybug mount. You find that close or inside the cabbage patch. Actually the bed above it you'll see a fairy house leading to the candy factory or the candy facility, and in there you'll find the recipe for Ladybug and the fresh mint glob. But yeah, go and check out the rest of the guides for more help with that. But one you can find in the starting area in the new northern hedge zone is of course advanced buildings. This will give you access to the oven, glue masher and the ability to go ahead and obviously make new build pieces like the mushroom and pumpkin pieces. So just northwest of the campfire, in fact all the way north from the brand new park bench, you will find a new hedge littered with all weavers. This is also the new place where you can only find all weaver eggs. They've removed them from the rest of the map, so if you've been wondering where they've gone, well that's why they're now here instead. Make your way all the way to the top and you will come across a dead body on a web, and that will have the advanced disc. You'll get 1000 raw science for returning it, and like I said, a whole bunch of new unlocks, including the advanced production buildings, the smithing mighty glob, which is good for elemental weapons that you already find and can't change. This just makes them much stronger. Or if you just prefer having more damage and more actual durability compared to having elemental stuff on them. And yeah, it also unlocks the featheroos too. Glue Masher is super important because you can now use it or bug parts to go ahead and repair your gear. They've reduced how many different types of bugs you can use to make it. They are all now tier 2. Hopefully you've got a lot of resources from your time in Grounded 2 already. You can even use candies, but I would never recommend that, not unless you've literally got hundreds and hundreds, because you'll never know when you want to get or upgrade new weapons with new elements. And with the oven you'll now be able to upgrade your gear, including your armour, to level 5. So hopefully you've been gathering a lot of the sturdy quartzite and the sturdy marble, so you can make it into the plates and the whetstone. Doesn't look like there's an actual recipe to craft them though, not yet at least that I've seen. You hopefully found recipes in the ice cream cart as well as the spider den that gave you the ability to craft the brittle plates or the brittle whetstone out of bug parts and sap. That should be continuing with the sturdy stuff, but you may need to find the recipe or unlock the ability, but it might not actually be added now until the summer update. I'm recording this like a week before it goes live for everyone, so maybe they're going to sneak it in somewhere, because yeah, you can craft them in creative mode and it does show the new components that you need. Especially make sure you're picking up lots of all weaver fangs and ladybug parts. So it does mean you're going to have to go and grind and gather lots of the sturdy rocks. Thankfully they now respawn, and yeah, hopefully you'll find lots of good spots. Maybe I'll do a video showing you guys some of the best places to get some. Of course, a big feature of this expansion into the gardens is the ladybug mount, so you will find them in the cabbage patch. There should be plenty of eggs littered all around the leaves. If not, you'll actually have to go on a bit of a culling and kill as many of the ladybugs as possible, then come back the next day. Not sure if this is intentional, but it was a mechanic that was in Grounded 1 with certain ants and their eggs that you could get to make bombs. You'd have to kill a bunch of them sometimes if the eggs weren't spawning, and then the next day or day after they would. And if you can't see any of the Orb-Weaver eggs at the hedge, then the same thing might apply. Kill a bunch of the Orb-Weavers, come back the next day, and hopefully more eggs will spawn. They can be a bit slow, although their charge attack does mean they can go a little bit fast, but the main use of them is their water turret to take out flying enemies, which they're really good at, and helping to clean some of the tang pools that you've come across. Last thing to mention about ladybug eggs, of course you will need a red ant soldier buggy if you want to make life easy for yourself and carrying them back home. So the main objective is to open up the archives, but there's a series of steps and quests that you have to do before you gain access. Remember, we're after Burgle's OS chip. I've been trying to make this video not too much of like, yes, this is the story, this is what you should know, because obviously you might want to experience it for yourself. But there was some issues with PTB where things weren't working correctly, or if you did things out of order, you couldn't actually take on the final boss or basically complete the end of the story at the moment. So I'll just break it down very briefly. You are meant to make sure that any leaks from water are plugged. So you're going to need at least 12 of the new sap bandages that are meant to heal your buggies while you ride them. And you'll also need your wrench upgraded to tier 2. Once you've gone into the first greenhouse arena and then spoken to Sloan, which you can access, they should pop up with the quest to go and take care of the leaks, turn on the demister system, as well as restore power to the grow house lights to make the lime tree grow. I've done a complete guide to all the steps that you need to follow, and I was going to include a streamlined version in this video, but you know what, I figure you guys would probably just want to experience some of that at least for yourself. If you do need help, just remember, go and do it in the order that I've said. Stop the leaks, repair the demister, find and plant a sour seed, turn on the demister system, and make sure you turn on the power. This will give you access to the final boss fight and a whole bunch of rewards and unlocks. There are indeed 5 new mysterious stranger weapons, although one of them you'll only be able to get once you've gone and completed the boss fight. The boomstick, a 2-handed hammer, giving lots of spicy damage. Again, I've done individual guides for these, but just give you some directions. Look to the garden wall inside it, close enough to the black anthill where it comes out in the garden to find this entrance. Discord bow, you'll find that on top of the pumpkin trellis, just underneath some of the solar panels. And while you're up there, there will be a new type of seed that you will be able to craft, but obviously you need to get the recipe for it first, like this, as long as you've got the advanced garden plot, which is called the Ponic Patch. Now again, that's something you won't get until you've gone and completed the boss fight and got through some gunk doors, but it's well worth remembering, as these give a massive boost to ability smoothies. So if something gives critical damage, well, these smoothies can give up to 50% extra for that critical damage if you make the smoothie. There's some other stats with it as well, which I'll go over again in my gardening video. And I know I'm plugging lots of stuff here, but I can't fit everything in just one video. It'd be like 2 hours long. So yeah, you might not have too much use for this if you do it early, but I would say don't forget to go into this laboratory as you're making your way up the pumpkin trellis. A brand new sour stave that you can find underneath the trash here, pretty close to the campfire. Make sure you've got your hammer upgraded to tier 3, and it'll be hidden behind a whole wall of sour sweets. Crimson Reapers, you'll find them in a pumpkin just below the fertilizer bag. It will be covered in sour, but it should be okay to run across quickly. These replenish a large chunk of your health whenever you get a critical hit. Get this with one of the new trinkets, the cricket trinket, and you'll be doing some serious critical damage as well as continuously healing yourself. And according to Discord, combine it with some mantis armor and you pretty much got the best critical build in the game now. Great feature from this update is that you can now craft these mysterious stranger weapons once you find them. The downside is every one of them needs some sort of trinket, so you'll have to either kill bugs or go and chop resources trying to find whatever it is. So you still got to look after your weapons, try not to lose them, but if you do, or you want to make sure your friends can have something they want, then as long as you're willing to grind with a bit of RNG, you should be able to craft them now. Of course, there's a whole host of new armors, but don't forget the old ones too. Now that you can upgrade to level 4 and 5, you will be able to now add sleek effects. In fact, there's 2 choices. If you're new to grounded, you've got sleek or you've got bulky. Bulky increases the resistance and the durability of armor pieces, particularly worth thinking about now that there is the tang, but most people do usually go for sleek as it adds usually a bonus ability. So for this potato beetle armor, it adds final mash, which gives a bonus to the 3rd hit, I do believe, in a combo. I'm working on my video right now to show you guys all the old armors, but yeah, don't discount any of the armors that you've already got. They may actually have new buffs that make it really worth it. Gardening has now been expanded in Grounded 2, however a lot of the materials that you will get you won't really necessarily be able to utilise until you've got the new Ponic Patch. So of course you can get carrots and potatoes, also potato eyes, with lots of these things including certain pumpkins and pumpkin seeds that I mentioned earlier. A lot of these will only be growable in new unlock. Problem is though, of course, you are going to have to defeat the game first to get hold of them. Orc transmitters are back and they will be guarded by more orc creatures. There's 3 of them scattered around the yard. You'll have also hopefully noticed there's a brand new mixer, so if you want to complete the mixer you'll have to turn these off first. And yes, that does mean raids are still back. At the moment in the PTB there was issues with the raids not working correctly, but I'm sure that's going to be fixed by the time you guys play the full update. If you don't want raids in the garden area, then make sure you go and do these 3 org receivers and the mixer, and again I'll have another guide for all of that. The mixer, as you might expect, is a bit more tougher this time. I managed to do the first one literally the first time I came across it with no defences and just a pinch whacker. But I did die a few times this time. I highly recommend you make sure you've got your Ladybug buggy, because this is really good for dealing, especially with the fireflies which are now back in the game, as well as some wasps that will be easy to pretty much destroy the mixer. Of course, building walls and some mushroom defences is probably going to be a good safe bet. After the 3rd time of dying live on stream, I managed to just about do it, with of course the aid of my Ladybug buggy. One word of warning with that though, if like me you did do the first mixer really early in the game so you didn't have to deal with any raids, well, you've probably lost out on gathering and getting a lot of raw science. So that's something to think about. Even though it was a mistake or a bug not having raw science spawn, even with that still being there, you would start this update probably with a low amount if you did that. So thinking ahead to the summer update, you might want to delay doing the mixer until you've built up or got absolutely everything you can buy and got a good few thousand left over. But be warned, lots of orc creatures, especially from the new area, can now spawn as part of raids. You might have seen a whole bunch of new mushroom pieces. They glow in the dark, so they're pretty hard to miss. These are used for fertiliser and eventually crafting the pumpkin seeds, so make sure you do stock up a bit on them, but maybe don't go too crazy. They'll increase the green thumb chance, giving you hopefully a chance of getting double resources from anything that you grow. And the fertiliser rocks that you see also scattered around, these are actually going to decrease the time it takes to grow stuff. And of course, we did see from the dev stream that mushrooms have had a glow up indeed, got a new sort of darker element to certain bricks, but I'm really excited about the pumpkin pieces. One thing though that you're going to need a lot of is algae. Now you would assume algae might not be here to the pond update, but there are some places underwater that you can actually find algae. Early game, especially pay attention to the croquet handle close to the park bench, which you can blow up with a rock. That'll lead you to some pipes with the algae inside. And there will be other spots dotted around that you'll be able to get some. So it is a limited supply at the moment, so a little bit of a grind to get certain pieces, especially with the burr needed for some of the brand new pumpkin wall pieces. You don't need to go ahead and buy or unlock anything for the pumpkin pieces as long as you've already got the advanced production chip unlocked, giving you the oven. Just go and chop some of the pumpkin with your tier 3 axe, grind it down into slop, and then the slop, scan it all. It should then give you the recipe for bricks. Of course, there are some brand new roof pieces, and let's face it, since I've already leaked the Colossi a bunch of times, I can't feel like it's a massive spoiler telling you that Snake has now been added to Grounded 2. And yes, you can make roof pieces from its scales. Beyond that though, there is no other boss fights other than the one that you'll encounter in the greenhouse. Not of time of recording at least anyway. What you will find scattered around the park are brand new ogre creatures. These are effectively similar to orc. They'll hit really hard though, but they also don't have as much health as their normal counterparts. And it seems like these have been made to counter the orc creatures by someone else. They'll offer exactly the same kind of parts that you normally get from killing these type of creatures, but some named variants have got a greater chance of giving you certain trinkets. So make sure you peep them all just in case, but it should be relatively simple to get all the cards because there's quite a few of these variants, like I said, scattered around. You might see there's a bunch of new gunk doors in certain places. Well, at least 3 doors. One of them inside the actual arena where you take on the boss will lead to a fast travel point giving you access to the park bench. There's a couple of these been added, so don't go too mad making the brand new tang bombs, although they can be used on creatures of course, and they will apply the tang debuff. As said, the Ladybug will help get rid of these pools, although I don't know if it lasts forever. These are caused by melted sour candy supposedly. Of course, other creatures like the brand new rust beetle will secrete it as well, and some of the black ants. So what does it do? It fills up a bar that will reduce your health as it goes up, and it will also start doing damage to your armor and any weapons you got equipped. You can even find whole caves or lakes of this stuff that you can swim in. Why would you want to swim in it? Does look like the devs really want us to be protected against it, having crafted some of the rust beetle armor, as that will give you some protection. And there are some other places where you will need to take a dive if you want to pick up a pretty powerful trinket. So again, just like the spicy and the fresh mints, make sure you eat at least 10 pieces of sour sweets as soon as you can get them, as that will help build up your resistance with a mutation buff. Also, obviously they have changed at the moment in mutations. You've now got active and then passive. Passive mutations you can access by pressing the triangle button when you're looking at the mutations. And what they are essentially is the weapon mutations that you previously had have now been moved to here. So effectively, they're always active. So if you get a bunch of kills with your spear, with your daggers, you're going to get the benefit and reward of that at all times. A couple other ones have also been added to that list as well, like Perfect Parry. So check them out, and yeah, it's definitely worth aiming for these, because now you don't have to worry about choosing it over other mutations that would be more beneficial. So lots of returning creatures are back in Grounded 2's latest update, of course including the black ants and yes, the fireflies, also wasps, but of course there's quite a fair amount of new ones including the potato bug, crickets and earwigs. Earwigs are the toughest absolutely out of the new ones. They have got variants in terms of one having ranged abilities and another more close up that can do like 5 hits in one go. So yeah, they are pretty formidable. Learning their attack patterns is pretty challenging. So you might want to invest in a heavy shield that allows you just to block without losing as much stamina. And of course there are orc variants or ogre variants of a lot of these creatures too. Somewhat annoyingly, there's a whole bunch of new decor if you have the Founders Pack, and this can contribute to your coziness. I wouldn't say it's pay to win since there's a lot of other items anyway, but as of recording again, there wasn't that much in terms of brand new decorations for this update, so I'm hoping it was just a case of a last minute add. There are some returning furniture pieces that we've seen in Grounded 1, but yeah, nothing exactly brand new. And if you're wondering where curved pieces are for the mushroom and the pumpkin walls, looks like they won't be added just yet. Also things like splinter arrows have been confirmed as they having their recipe changed, so by the time you see this video hopefully it will now be woolly aphid fuzz instead of mite fuzz as listed. And you may have come a curious case of seeing small tiny lint as well as small tiny pine cones. They're meant to be much bigger. That will happen in the February update. That's when they're going to be adding playgrounds mode, and it has got some new features which I've been checking out as part of the data files. So there you go, ratbags. Hopefully this has helped you. Tips, kind of showcase of what to expect. I will be doing lots more tips videos, and of course like I said, go and check out a whole bunch of more videos already done showing off more of this stuff in detail. Until next time, ratbags, laters.